Hope. Hello, hello. I'm so sorry, Macrine Haruna here. I have to call Zuckerberg. We need to talk with him. I don't know what happened, or maybe it's our network. So we're back on. Please come back and join us and let's have this discussion. Thank you, Topsy Gift. Here, Puna. Approve. Come on. Here, Beji. Hurrah, welcome back.
Oh,
Yes. What happened?
God.
Yeah, I bet you will say, I hope you still have the receipt of that device because we're going to return it.
Sorry about that.
It's fine, it's fine. So it's just because your time, I appreciate you. So let's just, you need
No,
to
don't
go
worry.
through it
I
again.
can spend more than 30 minutes. So,
Fine, thank you. So, but you need to start again. Run us through what you've talked about, just in case somebody doesn't want to see that other video and then this is a fresh one. So, tell us. I've introduced you earlier. You've gotten all the grants, scholarships. I know through your masters and PhD, and also the grants, the projects, and the seminars you organize, and you get fundings for them. So now share with us. You are in a position to talk to us. That's how we used to testify in church before. So this is a testimonial time for us. So
yes, as I
thank
did
you.
say earlier, that if you want a scholarship, you be prepared to work hard. At least if you have a 2-1 or first class, then you stand a very good chance of getting a scholarship. But even if you don't have a 2-1, there's also a way you can go around it. So if you normally, it depends on the countries that you want to apply. But I'm also a little bit familiar with the UK because I live in the UK. But there are other countries like America, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, China. And so the first point of call, which I would advise, is that exhaust the scholarships that you have at home, and then also look at the ones that are in abroad, like the ones at home, like PTDF. I know they do give scholarship, especially
Yeah.
in areas that related to petroleum. And then you have also there's this organization called NIDA, that is an this National Information Technology Development Agency.
Yep.
NIDA, yeah.
Yep.
NIDA, yeah. So they also give scholarship for people who want to study in areas related to computer science, masters and PhD. And their scholarship is also good. And if you are working in the university environment, then you have also the TED fund.
Yep.
Also, they do sponsor they also have scholarship that is through your university. So you can also access that. That's another good one too. But after there are also some countries that have bilateral relationship with Nigeria. Like I know of Japan, and I know of China. I used to also know of some bilateral relations with country like Cuba, where they also sponsor medical students. So I don't know if those like the one in Cuba, I don't know if it's still going on, but I know that the one in China still does go on, and the one in Japan.
Right.
So you have some countries like that that have bilateral relationships. So they can go to the Federal Scholarship Board and find out. Because when I got my master's scholarship, it was the federal government that gave me the scholarship. And I tell you, a lot of people were not aware of it. They weren't aware of it, but I was aware of it because I was always visiting their office, and they were also always giving me additional information on scholarship. So people will say, "Oh no, it's who you know." That's what how many people do you know there, and you must have the connection. But you know what, let me tell you something. When you are determined to do something, God goes ahead of you, and
Absolutely.
he brings you to people that can be of help to you. So
Hmm.
this idea of people just sitting there, I don't know anybody, it doesn't work out. Let me tell you, when I was looking for this scholarship long time before I traveled to the UK, I used to visit most of these embassies. And I remember going to American embassy, and I just walked in there one day and I said, please, I want to see any unit that has to do with, international development. I was working in NUC then, and they took me to the office. I introduced myself, and that was how I made friends with them. And I asked them, do you have any fellowships, training or things like that. They say, yeah, they do have some trainings, and they'll make me aware of those trainings when they're available. And when they were available, they gave me information. There's this training about international development. They call it International Visitors Program.
Yep.
And I spent 3 weeks in the United States of America. It was an international fellowship. And people were surprised. Oh, how did you get this scholarship? You must have known somebody. But you know what? I drove myself to that office.
Yep.
And I met the people there. I discussed with them. And this is the reason why I want this fellowship. And so when the time came, they gave me the forms to apply. And that was how I was able to get that fellowship. So I didn't wait for no connection, anything. You see, the thing is that they have to be proactive. If you are a Christian, especially, you have to be proactive. You have to go ahead. And, if you are convincing that this is what God wants to do and this is what you want to do, go pray about it and go ahead. God will go ahead of you. This means that you must know somebody. It doesn't follow most times. Yeah, maybe to some certain extent in Nigeria environment, it does. But there are, you see, because of the internet now, we have wider opportunities. We have wider information, you see. And then after you exhaust the ones, yeah, I know some state governments to do give scholarship, but the problem with some of the state government is that if it's like a master's degree that they can give you one-off payment is good, but if it's a PhD, to be honest with you, I would not advise people. Even if you are going in for it, you must have a backup, because I know a lot of people that have been sponsored by state government here in the UK and they have been stranded. Because maybe there was a change of governorship or whatever happened, there was no funding.
Yep.
So it's very frustrating. But 1 year is short. If they can give you funding and give you straight ahead, that is fine. But if you look at it,
because I remember I asked the British High Commissioner to Nigeria some years ago. I went to interview him because the rate of refusal of visa was too much then, and he said, we talked about students, because then we got some reports of Nigerian students from the northeast that were stranded, some in Manchester mostly, because the funding stopped. The scholarship the government was giving them stopped. There was change of government, there was political crisis, my father fought with your father, all those are things, and those kids were stranded. So, and we interviewed them, and so further they didn't give visas to people that actually wanted to come study here with their money. So he said, because of those kind of issues, so unless there's guarantee that the money, is disposable in the UK and is accessible, is there, not that they'll be paying in bits and pieces, So that's why now the universities will make you put a program in place where you pay every certain, you can agree on payment terms. If not, they get you back to the home office and they can revoke your visa if you don't pay or if you don't meet. So before, you could just be roaming the streets because they're not going to collect your visa. If you roam the streets, your visa finished and you go back with nothing. But now they'll even revoke your visa. They'll cancel it. And then you will have to go back.
Yes, so definitely. So yeah, so what I'll advise people, that don't just put all your eggs in one basket. So you just apply, just go Google on the internet, and if you're going, for example, apply in the UK, there's so many sites like postgraduate scholarship.co.uk. So you go there, you Google, and then once you've done that, there's so much information that comes up from individual universities. So having established that, you look at the areas where you are interested in, and then you go to the school website, because most of these scholarships come from individual schools, but this website gives you like a kind of a link. For example, if you want to do you can say MSc scholarship in computer science, then it comes up with the universities. So you go to individual universities, you check out the form, go to the background, check out the faculty, the kind of facilities they have, whether they have, and then the lecturers that that are in that background. Let's say, for example, you want to study biometrics engineering, or biomedical engineering, or medical informatics. So you go to and check the backgrounds, the lecturers that are available there, whether they have institutes there, especially if you're a PhD student, and then what kind of people, their background, if they can supervise what you really want, they can supervise you. So once you've done that, then you apply very early. Most of the time, the portals are open between November and March. So, but don't wait until it's near, almost near the deadline.
Yeah. Aye.
You search for this thing on time, apply for them. But when applying, there are things that you also have to note. Um, you have to note, because some of them do give age difference. I mean,
Right.
age gap. So you have to know that you have to make sure that you meet the criteria. And then secondly, some will ask for either first class or 2-1 or 2-2. Then you have to also know that you've met the criteria. And then one most important thing is the personal statement, which they want to know your background. What are you applying and of what benefit? Especially if you're an international student, they want to know. They don't just throw scholarships around. They want to know, when you finish, you go back to your country, what are you going to use the knowledge you've gained in the UK to do? So how are you going to impact your community?
Wow.
That is very, very important.
Absolutely.
So that is where your background comes in now. So most of them want to um, be sure that you're doing something at home apart from just working. You're also doing some extracurricular activities. Like, let me give you, for example, if you want a scholarship in international development, so they want to know, what are you doing at home? Are you working with an NGO? Are you working with the community? What are you doing in the community to impact the community? Give us an example of a project that you've done, that have impacted the community or is relevant to what you are applying. So they want to know those backgrounds, because they don't want to give scholarships to somebody who will finish and still going back and doing nothing with it. No, they want to know that you have been interested in something already. You
Absolutely.
have interest in something, yeah, already, and
Mm.
what you're doing. So this scholarship is now going to give you additional skills and empower you to do more.
Yeah.
So when you go back to Nigeria or your country, or Zambia, or wherever you're coming from, they want to know that, oh, this the skills you've acquired and the knowledge you've acquired, you're going to use it to impact your community in a greater way. So those personal statements are very, very important, and you will need some skills, to fill it. And you can also go to the internet and find out about personal statements for scholarships. There are thousands or millions that will come up. So you have a good personal
Puna, you
statement
must not go away.
that have
Come
come
on,
out
come.
or on scholarships, and then you can also get tips on how you can apply.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. That's really, really, really helpful. Auntie Mary Kadze, thank you, ma. Welcome. That's my big
Yeah, if you
auntie.
have any
Thank you.
question, they can just type
Yes.
it in.
Right. I'm also interested in facilities for women. And then I want to talk about grants. Can I get grants because I want to organize something, that will benefit somebody somewhere, not just because I want to go to school. So I don't want scholarship now, but I want grants because I have projects like you, which I know you talk to us about, even at other programs we're going to do together. You're going to tell us about what you're doing for GC, WAEC people because of your past experience. You're going to talk to us about what you do, what the undergraduate have introduced that earlier, but we'll do that in a separate video. But tell us about grants. What kind of grants can we apply for? What kind of projects can we do, or we need to do? That will attract grants that is meaningful. Because we have so many ideas, or people do different things, but can we just all apply, or we just do trial and error?
No, you see, when it comes to grant, that's another different ball game altogether. And to be honest with you, there are a lot of grants, especially in the UK, and I know too in America and Canada. But you see, the thing is that most of them, I'm sorry to say that they are also reluctant in giving grants to some of our people back at home, because there's no accountability,
Hmm.
and they really want to be sure that when they are giving grants, they are giving grants to meet up the target.
Puna,
And
don't be sorry. We are people, we have a lot of abuse. We abuse facilities. Some
Mhm.
people set up NGOs just for the show, the name, and possibly the benefits for them. But because we don't care about the fact that these are public funds that need full accountability. You don't just pocket somebody's money. So don't be sorry when you say that that's the reality. And these are the changes that we must introduce
You see,
in
when
our
it
system.
comes to grants, I'm also going to be honest that, you know, I think we and this is I'm just glad I'm saying this on this platform. Nigerians, we have there are few Nigerians that have lots of money that we can approach.
Absolutely.
And we may not we may not even have to look outside. We may have to look outside if we are working in partnership with some international bodies. But the thing is that if you want a grant, what kind of project are you doing? And you have to it has to be really organized. It's not something that you wake up in the morning and say, oh, I want to do this thing, I want to get a grant. No, it's something that it has to be properly registered. You must have your own website. You must do it like a proper organization where you keep records, you have a lawyer, you have proof of everything you are doing, and then it is well publicized. And then you see most of these international NGOs that give grants, they also have their bodies on ground. Like for example, DFID, Department of International Development, which is by the UK. Then you have USA, the United States Agency for International Development. You have people from Canada. You have, so many other um, international bodies on ground in Nigeria. So they work normally with local NGOs.
Yep.
So because they are on ground, they're able to even send their staff to see what you are doing.
Yep.
And to also verify. So you can approach, for example, DFID, British Council, just tell them this is the project you're doing, and you come with proof. You have monthly or quarterly newsletters that gives information of what you're doing. So everything is organized. You have a board. You have your own records of finances and audit reports of how you spend the money and things like that.
Yeah.
And you have proof. So if you approach them, they normally have grants, and then they also.
Puna, you can't go. You have to come back. I also want to say to us,
Hello.
we can encourage our people back home to register in like them British councils, do like
Yeah.
what she did. Go to those organizations, go to the embassies, ask them
Go to the
questions.
embassies. Yeah.
Right, register if there is any. They have small reading groups. They have some groups, some meetings, some social gatherings that you can
Mm-hmm.
attend. I'm a journalist, so I'm very sociable. I like to attend different kinds of programs, so
Mm-hmm.
that way you can network and things can be available. So let's stop
Yes.
reading
Network and go to
how
their
to bring
meeting.
supernatural advancement or
Yeah.
release of power. Let's not just concentrate on those religious books. We need to upskill ourselves. Those books, what
Mm-hmm.
are they going to, how will they put bread and butter on your table? How will they help you to
No.
develop your brother? So we must expand. So teach our people. We need to teach them to study, to go register in the British Council. You could be a member. Go there Monday, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Pick a day in the week that you go. Open books, open magazines, open materials,
Yeah.
and check and study and increase.
Approach the country representatives there,
Right.
those who are in charge of community development or things like that, and then discuss with them what you're doing. Always leave your information. It's good to have like a quarterly magazine or yearly magazine or what you do, the project, everything there, and then so that when grants come that is concerning those areas, then they can now contact you because they are on ground. They can easily verify what you're doing. You can also apply for international grants, but most time you must have to do greater work for you to be able to get funding. And another thing again is that you can also approach wealthy individuals or corporate organizations for if you have a proof of what you're doing and it really makes sense to them. You don't say okay, they may not help or whatever, but it's just worth trying. There are people that have so much money and they don't know what to do with it. And when you put these things on your website, your YouTube, you don't know who is watching. Maybe people abroad, Nigerians that are very wealthy, that not even wealthy, but also passionate about the country that will want to also contribute in
Absolutely.
what you're doing. Like for example, my mom does microfinancing, and then she's gotten also some grants from here in the UK because she gives a yearly report of what she does and she sends everything, the accounts, everything. So and people have been following her for over the years to say okay, this is what she's been doing, and they can affirm to that this is what she's doing. So they have confidence in what she's doing, and they've seen results. And some of those people are for people also from my area who she has shared the vision to, and with, and they believed, and they also assisting. So the thing is that we have to be sincere in what we're doing. We have to be transparent in what we're doing. And we, most importantly, the motive behind what you're doing. It's not because you want to
Absolutely.
make money, but you want
Right.
to make an impact. And if
Absolutely.
God sees your heart that you really want to make an impact, He's definitely going to open the door for you to do it. So a passion is very important, because when the money doesn't even
Wow.
come, what actually keeps you going is passion. Take, for example, the project that I'm doing now for secondary school students in Nigeria. I've spent thousands of pounds. Is because of passion. I've not applied for funding yet, because I want to take it to a stage whereby
Because
when students start using it. But there are some that I've gotten funding for, but for this particular one, I want to get to that stage, because when you're talking to people, they want to know what you're doing. They want to see what you're doing. So in the next couple of weeks, I want to launch it, and then I can now start approaching people. But for the other ones that I've gotten grants and I've gotten funding for, it is something that has been my passion. It is something that I had to invest in it first of all. I have to be the driver of it, and I have to get people involved and to let them know this is what I'm doing. And so when they go to the website and see that this is what I'm doing and it's genuine, and this is the testimonial of people that are benefiting from it,
absolutely.
then it's not easy to get the funding.
Wow. Wow. This is
Yeah.
very, very, very interesting. Mura says, yeah, like
And then
sorry.
just to
Yeah.
add, you see, I was talking to somebody this morning,
Right.
and I'm talking to some of our youth who are watching now, that you see, you have to give something to the community. Most time
Hmm.
Nigerians, we want to receive. We're thinking of what can we do, what can we receive. There was a lady I was sharing, I was talking to, she read theater
Oh.
arts, and she told me for 6 years she doesn't have a job. She's been looking for jobs, she's been applied so many places, and she was so frustrated. Said, oh, I want to do a master's degree. And I asked her a very simple question. I said, why do you want a job? Why can't you work for yourself? And why can't you, because she's highly gifted singing, theater and dance. And just told her a very short story. I said, I know I've spent lots of money on my daughter, taking her to theater school on Saturdays for 3 hours. She learns dancing, acting, and singing. And I told her that, look, you can start something like that at
Hmm.
home. You can start a theater company where you can teach this youth, you know, to dramatize or drama. But
Dance.
you may not really have to do it like the way we do it here, but you can communicate to Nigerians through drama, through acting,
Hmm.
and teach young artists who are coming up. There's girls 10, 11, 12 years old who want to become artists, so why don't you train them from the young age? And you have the skills. You are a graduate. Even if their parents can now pay a token,
All right.
they can do it. And then you can, when it's now grown big, you can now seek for funding that will help you and say, this is what I'm doing with these kids, instead of them doing nothing. I don't know how many kids in Nigeria on Saturdays, I don't know what they do on weekends.
Hmm.
But get them involved, those who are interested, and then train them. And then when people see that this is what you're doing, and then you can easily get support.
Wow. Wow.
But she wasn't thinking about that. So the whole idea is that, oh, I just want a job, I just want a job. No, you can do something for the community and develop your skills from there, and then you can now seek for help when those things have become bigger and grown already.
Right. You see, and that's the beauty of love, when we're able to share with people, because she may not have thought of what you shared with her, but
Mm,
talking with her, you would have opened up. She may not agree immediately, but she could go sleep over it. And
mhm,
that's why it's good for us to interact like this, rub minds,
mm,
share ideas, so that
mhm,
don't keep it. People should not keep information and knowledge or whatever they know. See, some of us are watching here, I have my family watching here. We're working on a project now. Wura, Davidson, and some other of our the prof is there, prof's wife, there are a
mhm,
couple of us working on a project which will eventually talk with you and even bring you on board, because we want your expertise on that, because we'll also need to get funding for that. We're going to patent it, we're going to do all this, because the lawyer, the registration and all of that. So that's all in the pipeline. So I'm glad,
mm,
because you're speaking to us as well. And I know coming here, people like to hoard information, and it's not going to get us anywhere when you keep it.
No.
Now she has
No.
spoken to that young girl, and I told you, Puna is a pastor, a counselor, so she speaks with people. She does programs, women, young ones, and all of that. She's got a grown daughter, a teenager as well. So when you freely give, the Bible says freely you have received, so freely give. So I'm
Yeah,
just so
let me
blessed.
also share an experience with you. When I was in Nigeria some few years ago, so this is 2016, and because I was waiting for my brother to pick me up in the airport, and I met this guy who used a trolley to push my luggage, to carry my luggage to the park, to the motor park, to the car park.
Yeah.
So and we're waiting for my brother because he said it would take like 30 minutes for him to arrive. I was talking to this young man, and I discovered that he was a copper. And I said, "Oh, what did you read?" He said, "Oh, I read psychology." I said, "Really?"
Wow.
And he was telling me, "Oh, auntie, things are hard. Be brave." But I said, "A copper, you are pushing trolley in the airport, And he's posting. I said, "Is that where they posted you?" He said, "Yes." And this was how, this is how I survived. I felt very bad. And I said, "You read psychology?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Do you know what you can do with your psychology?" He said, "Well, he's just hoping that when he finishes, he can get a job. That he's so much afraid because the job market is saturated." I said, "You don't need a job as a psychologist. I tell you what." I said, "Do you know the amount of people that have mental problem in Nigeria? Do you know the lot of people that go through trauma in Nigeria? Do you know the number of people that they don't have counseling, proper counseling, and they believe in myth and taboos?" And what
Superstition.
is it? Yeah. And I told him, I said, "Look, you goes to church, right?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Start a free counseling service in your church.
Wow.
Just people who are depressed, people who are emotionally down, there are children who are going through abuse. I think so much you can do. And then, just try to take people through all these things like what is abuse, how do you recognize abuse, trauma, how do you do trauma, how do you deal with bereavement, how do you deal with frustration, how do you so much." I said Nigerians are so much bottled inside with problems, with pressure, pain, wounds that have not been healed from childhood abuse and things like that, and it's all manifesting in their adulthood. And there are children who have gone through trauma in their childhood and they are manifesting. They're saying, "No, there is the demon of stubbornness." It's not demon of stubbornness. It's because these children have been bottled up, and because of our culture, you can't talk.
You can talk.
You can't talk. Or people who have been raped, they can't say it. They're going through a lot by relations. I have counseled people who have been raped by their uncles, by close relations, and they couldn't say it for years. So that
Yes.
anger was transferred in their marriage. It even broke down their marriage. It even distorted their relationship with not just their spouses, but with people. I said, those people need counseling. I said, if you go to churches and just book, say, "You know what? I just want 10 minutes. Just the pastor, give me 10 minutes. Let me talk to people." So we talk to them that this counseling is a free session. So you can now leave your card and say, "Look, if you need help or if you need counseling, you can contact me." I said you can also be a columnist, write about hearts, write about mental health, write about things in magazines, and free, just free.
And
You
maybe
can do a
blog
simple
site, a
website.
blog.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can do a blog. Write about how do you deal with relationship breakdown, how do you deal with divorce, how do you deal with bereavement, how do you deal with trauma. So with that one, you now begin to gain attention. Like, for example, the Boko Haram that is happening. People are going through trauma. People are going through
Absolutely.
pain.
Yep.
But they need counselors. They need bereavement counselors. They need clinical psychologists to be able to help them. So they go to church and say, "Don't, sister, it is okay. God is
Well,
on the throne. It is okay. It is well."
it is well.
You see, and that is the reason why I said pastors. There are pastors who are not equipped, and they shouldn't be counseling. I'm sorry to say this because they are not. They don't
True.
have the intellectual capacity
True. That's true.
because they don't even know. There are a lot of people with narcissistic behavior, psychological disorder, mental disorder that pastors are thinking is demon. It's not demon.
I'm tell.
Some of them needs to be dealt with from the root, and it's only a trained counselor, they'll be able to take people through this and be able to know this is where the problem comes from. Yes, you pray God heals, but you have to deal with it. So
Absolutely.
people, yeah, so it's very small thing they go to pastor. It's not everything that you go to pastor for.
Mm.
Look for professional counselor. And by the time I counseled this guy, he was so happy. He never knew that he could do such a thing.
Wow.
You
Wow.
see, so I told him that I said, you don't need a job. Just do this. By the time you do this, you become an expertise in your area, and you are well known. You can even ask for free TV programs where you can say, take a
Absolutely.
topic about abuse, for example, about relationship, or about child behavior disorder and things like that.
Mm.
Then you can now educate the people once they begin to know you, and then that is it. You register your practice, you do it properly, and then that's it. You don't have to be waiting for government for job.
Mm.
So people really need to know that they
Wow.
have a gift, and when they identify this gift, they can, I mean, they can serve the community with this gift, and
Mm.
then register it as an organization properly, and then they can now seek for funding. Take, for example, if you are giving a counseling to people who are bereaved, that these Boko Haram victims, or the Chibok girls that have been been adopted by. Do
Right.
you know the trauma that the family goes through?
True. True.
And if you are a counselor that are giving you free services to the families of these people, and then people know about it, definitely there are people around the world that can support you 100% with
Yep.
grants to do
Absolutely.
much more. Yeah.
That's true because I have my husband's relative, which I also will try and bring him on. We've been trying on
Yeah.
Friday. We tried to do a test like we did with you, but the network was poor. He
Mm-hmm.
he he fostered about 300 children from Boko that lost their parents in Boko Haram. He
Yeah.
fostered them. They got families to take care of them. And because these
Mm-hmm.
families that took these children, some of them can't even feed their own children and themselves, talk less of adding another foster child. And they really love to help. So he now got funding. They heard about what he's doing. He's a
Mm-hmm.
medical doctor. He takes his specialist is this TB and leprosy control. So he goes to the interiors of this area, Puna. He gets these people, he builds small structures, put them together,
Mm-hmm.
and treats them with his money. Before you knew it, a foundation in Germany found out about him on the website, put
Mm-hmm.
money. Another foundation, the Tier Fund, I've mentioned that
Yes.
so many times, they invited him to Rwanda. They went and did
Mm-hmm.
some things, a partnership, they're funding. An
Mm-hmm.
organization in Ireland saw what he's doing
Mm-hmm.
and said, add 100 cholera victims to this thing, and this is funding for it. He's
Definitely.
transparent.
Definitely. Because
EFCC come
you
to
see,
check their
yeah.
accounts. They're on the net. They're
Mm-hmm.
open to accountability and scrutiny. And that's what people that can't pay him back, okay? That's what he's doing. So what you're saying is just so in line with everything we should be thinking about and everything we should be doing
You
now.
see,
We
you see,
should build
I, I,
human resource.
I'm just reading a comment now, and which I think I did promise you that we're gonna come back and talk about, relating our degree to the marketplace, and that is the
Yes,
major problem in Nigeria
right.
because
That's one thing you said in the
people read courses, they can't even see themselves working in the community. They can't see potentials. They can't see how to relate what they've read to the community.
Yep.
So we're a society that only wait to receive, just to receive. We just want to receive. Now, if everybody has to do government job, then what will be left? But you see, getting a degree is just a platform for you. You can do anything. You can just that's just to equip you, but your passion, yeah, your passion could be also related with what you read. But what I'm trying to say that there is everything for everybody. If
Yeah.
you look at especially the Nigerian economy, there is a lot. I was talking to a chap some few weeks ago,
Right.
and he was telling me a story about his grandmom. Very interesting. He said, oh, his grandmom, every day she tells new stories, folk tales. Okay? She tells new stories, and she doesn't repeat it. So when you give her money, other 5 naira or 10 naira, she will tell you stories in the evening. And I asked him a simple question. I said, are you documenting these stories? He said no. I said, why? I said, if this woman dies today, that is the end. I said, do you know? I said, do you know the potential is in what is in the, you should have been documenting every foxtail story, and then now you get it into book, and then you can also get it animated, do an animation for it. And but he never saw the potential in it. All they were doing was to listen to the stories and just laugh about it.
But then we watch CBBS. We watch this same Tinga Tinga.
Yeah, we watch all this CBB, all this Peppa Pig, and all those kind of things that you can't even find any meaning from it. But you see, the thing is this: there's a lot of potential in Africa, especially in Nigeria. But people need to see beyond the society. They need to see beyond the classroom. The degree is just a stepping stone. If you are coming here, for example, to do a postgraduate, yes,
like what David
and
said, there's a wide gap
yes,
between academic curriculum and economic development.
yeah,
There is
and
such a
let me also add that even if you happen not to get a scholarship for example, there are so many online courses, free online courses that you can do on. I don't know whether people have heard about MOOCs, massive open online courses. There are platforms like Udemy. There are platforms like Coursera, Canvas Network. If you just go and Google MOOC, MOOC courses, there are so many free courses from top universities around the world that are free on entrepreneurship, innovation. See, you can learn programming from the scratch with no knowledge of programming on the internet. You can learn about innovation, critical thinking, and problem solving. You can learn about blogging. You can learn about how to make money from blogging. You can learn about anything that you want these days on the internet. And some of those courses are free. So people that are watching, I just want people to, you see, you have to add value to yourself. You have to add value to yourself. You don't have to wait for going from office. If you don't have a job, fine. But you have to think of what is in me that I can do. And you don't have to be selfish about it. Start something, even no matter how small it is. Once you begin to go along with it, you can approach friends, you can approach relations to help you. Once you go along with it and you document it properly and you put it on the internet, I tell you, people are going to come after you to say, well done, we want to support you. So you don't have to sit down there and be talking about the government. Let the government keep doing whatever they want to do. But you as an individual, you have a part to play. And you are also part of the government yourself. So there's so much you can do in Nigeria. There is just so much we can do. But you see, you have to get that skills of critical thinking and problem solving to be able to know what is around you that you can do. You can be able to do to earn a living for yourself and also impact the community, and so also to have a fulfilled life. And I have to say here, as a pastor, from the little experience I have, a lot of people pray a lot. They pray, they spend time, maybe it's a demon in my father's house or in my mother's house that is not. Stop chasing any demon, please. You are more than conquerors. The Bible says that they are under our feet. I have given you power, behold, to tread upon serpent and lion, and by no means anything shall hurt you. You have the power of creativity in you. All you need is just to have that relationship with Christ, and once you're able to click that, God, this is what I want to do, focus on it and get all the skills that you require. On the internet, there are free courses that you can do to get yourself on. Once you've been able to do that, I tell you, the sky is not your limit. I see a lot of Nigerians. I speak to them. Once I just use 5 to 10 minutes, they say, do you know, I never knew that I could do this. I never knew I could do this.
Pastors will talk like you, Puna.
Yeah, you could do this. So the issue is that you have to create time to develop yourself.
That's it.
Let me also give you an example. Take, for instance, now, you are a maths graduate or you are an engineering graduate, and look at the failure rate in WAEC. Look at the failure rate in WAEC. Now, doesn't it prick you that when they say less than 25% or 30% make English, able to pass English and math? So you who have an engineering background or maths background, why can't you invest 2 hours of your time to teach somebody? Teach somebody who is preparing for WAEC. By the time you gather children and begin to do that, register it properly as an organization. and make it known on the internet that this is the services you're providing. But most time we ask for the money first. How much are they going to pay? No, don't think about the money first. Think about the investment first. And I tell you, by the time you begin to do that, people begin to see that, oh, this is what this guy is doing. You will get funding. I'm telling you. You will, we saw recently a teacher in Kenya who got $1 million. He was doing this thing. He was investing his time for these children. But look at it, paid off. But most time we want, how much can we get? Let's stop that mentality of how much can we get. Let's try to invest, to sow into the life of people and see if God will notice. Because God wants to see your heart. He wants to see whether you're trying to do it, the motive behind it. If the motive behind it is right, definitely, it's going to bring helpers. And you yourself, you'll be shocked how much of help you will get from just that simple obedience.
Honestly, Puna, thank you, because you've blessed us today. You've said so much. And I'll be saying, if our pastors would talk like that, rather than say, let's do deliverance, let's pray, break the thing in your father's house, your mom, let them talk like this, tell you to go to the root of the problem, tell you to go and increase yourself. And if you're not a certified counselor, you don't organize counseling, counseling people, what are you telling them? We've prayed enough. It's time for us to actually act. It's time to do. Prayer is not wrong. We pray, but then we've got to get up.
Yeah, and just before we go, we talked about scholarship about women. I just really want to talk about that before we go. Yeah, when it comes to women, there are a lot of organizations that give scholarships to women, like the Slum Budget Scholarship. And they also give scholarship and fellowship to women. So Slum Budget Scholarship. So they're very good at that. In fact, they give you 3 years full scholarship, especially for a research degree or PhD. And after that, even when you finish your PhD, there's also room for fellowships. That is what they call postdoc. They can also give you a grant for postdoc. And then you have TIWAS, which is Third World TIWAS, which is Third World Association of Women in Science.
Right.
They also give scholarships. Yes, and there are also the foundation like the Kaka Machel Foundation. The wife of Nelson Mandela, she's also got a scholarship, I think, for women in East Africa or South Africa. So, yeah, even for women. So you have to look out for it. You can Google on the internet international scholarship for women. The information will just come up. So we women, we need to seize that advantage. We need to seize that advantage. And then when you're also applying for this scholarship as a woman, you also what they're actually looking at. They want, for example, the STEM project that is women in science and technology and mathematics. They also have scholarship to promote women in sciences. Even the TAWAS, Third World Academy of Women in Science, they also give women scholarship to promote them in sciences. So they want to see your background, your love for science, and how you use that to also encourage other women when you go back to your country, in sciences. So these are the things that you need to prove to them in your personal statement and why you're interested in sciences. There are also international organizations that do some specific encourages women, even if you want to go, for example, into being a pilot as a woman. You can Google all this information and also apply online, giving them genuine reasons and your passion. So we don't have to be limited. And also, just a caution, a lot of people also try to, because I've seen a lot of videos that say, oh, don't apply to UK university, don't apply to Canadian. Let me tell you something, one person's experience is not going to be everybody's experience.
That's right.
Like my friend will always say, you can't use one Panadol to cure every headache.
That's true.
If somebody gets something in the UK and it didn't work out for, that does not mean that your own will be different. People will say, oh, if you study in the UK, they don't give you work, they just send you. Let me tell you, I know of friends that have gotten jobs in this UK after their studies. They've gotten jobs and they've gotten work permits. And they've stayed back. I spoke with one this morning.
I went to visit.
But other people who left. Yep. Yes. So the thing is this: when people have their own experience, they shouldn't use it as a yardstick.
That's right.
Other people. Number one, you didn't read the same course. Number two, you don't have the same exposure. Number three, The opportunities are there. Maybe they have a reason why they didn't take them. Of course, they don't need them, or they didn't get to the right place. They didn't get the right information. There are other even visas that you can stay back and work, like entrepreneurship visa. In fact, they have, when you finish from college, like for your PhD or master's degree, if you can write a proposal, entrepreneurship, that you have a business, for example, that you can do, connect the UK and at home to be able to make something, they will give you entrepreneurship visa. So
Absolutely.
these are all informations that are available that people don't even know, just because they didn't do their research properly and they say, oh, okay. There are also international NGOs that have projects in Africa that they need an African, for example, to help them with such a project. So you just need to do your research very well. Stop hearing all those side stories from people that you can't
Let me
confirm.
share this one. I met someone too that plays a musical instrument, and he got
Mm.
a job because they wanted somebody that plays the African kind of drums and
Yeah.
our own kind of things in this UK, and automatic job, because
Yeah.
it looks like just a beat drum, but it was something that they could not find that here. They had to
Mhm.
employ him, a Nigerian. I can't thank you enough, and we can't exhaust it all today. But I
Mhm.
believe that we have been blessed hearing you and listening to you. What I would do at some point is maybe put up some of these links. Google is our friend, so we can Google so many of these things. But then you share those links later on, maybe give them to me. I'll post them on my page and everybody can have access to it so that people can look up like this mock one, and other ones like Slumberger, because I know about that. We've done things about that before, written
Mhm.
stories about that. Even in Nigeria, even as undergraduates, you get Shell, they give scholarship. I've conducted exams for them before for
Mhm.
candidates for scholarship. So I know that there are facilities, and I just now, before, all these things didn't matter to me. Mine was a job. This thing, go interview this person here, you hear this, you write it, let the people read it. But now I'm beginning to see that there's much more to just knowing. We need to start doing things. We need to start talking like this so that everybody, people may not read it in the newspaper, but they will see it on Facebook as we're talking. So, and then we can post. I'm posting this on YouTube. The channel is called Trending with Crime. Please subscribe. I'm going to bring Puna back again. She's going to talk to us about the undergraduate programs and the seminars she organizes, and she gets grants for them. Why is she getting grants? Because the seminar is going to impact the lives of people and upskill them. And every human being that has heart, even though they're not going to church, these foundations, these organizations, they want to promote people. They want to see people advance. They want to see nations like our own come up. Some are not selfish. They want Nigeria to grow. They want Africa to grow. They want us to all come together. That's why they are putting money in projects that will help our people. Let's not limit ourselves. Let's not, just sit down and fold our hands like I have been doing. It's time to arise, and it's time to get up and do things for other people. Community, like she talks to the guy at the airport. Start something in your church. Pastors should not be the ones canceling when they don't have any. Like somebody said, he's done a research, but still, a lot of pastors need counseling themselves. A lot of them are going through mental depression, mental health challenges themselves. So we should go to experts, and if people like that are sitting in the church, and then you just go push your wheelbarrow or trolley, go and sit in church, you'll be doing yes sir, yes sir, when you can get somebody out of depression. Somebody that's going to commit suicide tomorrow, you could talk to that person today, and that person comes out of depression because you went to school to study that anyway. And that's your own skill, that's your gifting, that's your calling.
Mhm.
Thank you, my sister. Just give us a last word, and I commit you to come back to this platform again to share with us. I've chased you for this one, I'll chase you again.
Yeah, just to say thank you very much for those of you who are watching and joining us live. And just before I go, I'd just like to encourage us, that as Africans, or those that are even not Africans that are watching, please, you see, the power lies within you. The power lies within you. You don't have to look at somebody's experience or what the country is going through and judge it by your own experience. A friend was sharing a story to me, and they because they brought some Russians to come and do some plumbing work in Lagos, and she told me that when the Russians were leaving, they said that they can't imagine that someone will stay in a country like Nigeria and still be poor.
Wow.
That there is that they can see potentials everywhere they turn to.
Wow.
But you see, the thing is this: you have to be trained. You have to have that skills of critical thinking and problem solving to be able to see problems when people are seeing that this is a problem. And I'm telling people this is an opportunity.
Wow.
So but you need to be trained. It's not something that you need to be trained. And there are courses free online, problem solving, critical thinking, innovation. You, instead of saying and talking about the government, talking about what the government is not doing, just spend 1 hour in a day to just
Wow.
educate yourself on
Yeah.
this. And I'm telling you, you have much more than what you can even chew yourself.
Absolutely.
Nigeria has the population, we have the number, we have the resources, we have everything that is on tap. And as a youth, you have to spend much part of your time to be able to think and say, this is the path I'm going, and equip yourself with the skills that you need and take off. It may be very difficult in the beginning. It may be that you have to
Absolutely.
even
Teething
sacrifice,
problems everywhere.
but never mind, don't
Yeah.
worry. God sees your
Absolutely.
heart. And once God sees that the motive behind it is right, I tell you, He will bring helpers. Thank you
Thank
very much.
you. Thank you, my sister. Thank you. And let's study. There's a book I was reading. I'm still reading it, and it's free on the internet. DNA of Innovators. There are past materials that can
Yeah.
help us to, jet our minds. We make us
Yeah, like
become
DSA
critical
books too are
thinkers.
very good.
Yes, so that
DSS
we
books
can
are
begin
very
to
good, so
think.
people can, yeah.
Yeah. So instead, we're reading how to kill the witch in the village. How who help? Please, my people, it's time to become in who God created us to be. It's time for us to really impact this world. Thank you, my sister. Thank you, everyone
Thank you.
that has interacted with us. Thank you for your time today. And please subscribe to Trending with Bakine on YouTube. This video will be posted there. And there are other videos there that are not on Facebook. There are some things I'm not doing live that I'll put on that channel. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Puna. I appreciate you. I appreciate us all. And I believe we have learned so much today. God bless you. Have a lovely
Thank
week
you.
ahead. Bye.
Thank you, and you too. Bye.